Hello everyone, good evening or good day. In this video I will be going through a CB650 in the city, well, in a busy city. Right now we are in the middle of Kuala Lumpur, but it is at night. There's not that much traffic. City bike, that's what the Honda CB stands for, apparently. City bike. So in traffic, this bike, you're seated at quite an upright position on this bike, being a naked bike. That gives you good mobility and flexibility as well. So you can twist your body easily, you know, without being too constricted in one specific position. You kind of flexible in terms of your maneuverability, and that means you can keep the bike at balance easier at different positions of your body. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but what I mean is that even if the bike is leaned a bit sideways when you need to maneuver in between cars, you could still balance it without much problems, and that makes it easy to ride. That's basically my point. For a 650 engine inline 4, you expect it to have a lot of top end and very little low end, but this bike surprisingly has plenty of bottom end, definitely a lot more than I thought it had. So let me show you. This bike got some beams. I shouldn't be going that fast in a public road. This is not even a highway. See, I'm in 4th, I'm in town. It's like I'm in the, I wouldn't say sweet spot, but I'm in the cruising spot of the rev range, and it just pulls for 600. That's quite impressive. So smooth. You know, on some bikes you gotta be in specific gears, you gotta be in specific rev range. Ducati monster, even in first gear under 20 km/h, it will be upset with you. It will burble and rock. It's like, it's so rough and aggressive. It's not a city bike. Whoever's idea it was to say that it was a city bike for them, I don't know what they were basing it on, but basically that bike, you can't ride it under 20 km/h. You can't maneuver it around cars slowly. It would just vibrate, and your comfort level is just not, you could, it's just not comfortable. Like on this bike, it's really smooth. I keep saying that it's really smooth, but it is really smooth. You can maneuver it around on first gear, second gear, whatever rev range you wish to be in. It's so good, so easy to ride. Damn, that bike is noisy. I need this bike to make a little bit more noise than this. Another thing that makes this bike really good for the city is that the clutch is really light. So you can just hold it in at the stoplights, and it's very progressive and linear. It's cable actuated, but you get quite a good amount of feel on it. I don't think I've ever stalled this bike unless I did something idiotic. So that shows that the clutch is really well balanced in terms of feel and weight as well. Can't be too light because you can't feel it if it's too light. It just has to have that enough weight on the levers for you to know what you're doing actually, and this bike has exactly that. Compared to, let's say, a Supersport's bike like a Suzuki GSX-R 600, I keep referring to that bike because that was the bike which this bike replaced actually. That was my previous bike. I rode it daily to work, I rode it to the track, I rode it on weekends. Well, 95% of the time I took it to work because I ride bikes to work. It was quite a pain, to be honest. The suspension was hard, the position is quite aggressive, although for a Supersports bike, the seating position is actually one of the least aggressives in that category of motorcycles. For example, the Yamaha R6 or Ducati Panigale 899 has a much more aggressive body position compared to the Suzuki. It was still a pain to ride, especially in traffic when you're trying to maneuver the bike around cars and filter in between, because you're in such a tight position that you can't move that much. Whereas in this bike, you can be comfortable like this, comfortable like that. It's like you can be down here. It gives you much more flexibility and mobility. You can put this bike in many positions and still be in balance. That makes it a great city bike. A lot of filtering in city driving like this. And if you choose this bike as a daily commuter, this is just the kind of thing that you have to go through. A lot of traffic, a lot of weaving around, a lot of balancing yourself at slow speeds to make sure you get to where you want to go. You get a lot of that as well. Comfort wise, look at this, potholes. It's not too bad. I'm hitting all sorts of potholes. It is bumpy. It reminds you there's bumps, but it's not gonna kick you into the air. Yes, it's running on reserves. Yes, I will feed you. Look, there's a Petronas up there.